The next question is for Andres. This is a question a lot of people have, and I'm excited to hear the answer. In April 2024, a video filmed at a Denver migrant shelter showed you, in your role as Mayor Johnston's newcomer communications liaison, telling a group of recently arrived Venezuelan migrants in Spanish, quote, "The opportunities are over. New York gives you more. Chicago gives you more. So I suggest you go there." You also told them, if you stay here, you are going to suffer even more, which I do not want to see. So the question is, do you disagree with the approach the mayor took towards migrants at that point in time?
It's a good question, and thank you for asking it. I disagree with the approach that the mayor took at the time. But here's where we spent 90% of our efforts during the migrant crisis. I remember organizing the first of its kind in Denver city history, the largest work authorization clinics in Denver city history that got 5,500 work permits for Venezuelan migrants. I recruited hundreds of bilingual volunteers from across the state that could all pass background, and I organized them to ensure that we were filling out I-9 forms, oftentimes until 1 a.m. in the morning. I remember setting up the Denver Asylum Seekers Program, which was this first of its kind program in Denver history that trained 800 Venezuelan migrants in how to speak English, and we connected them with job opportunities after. I remember ensuring that the night before a gigantic bomb cyclone ran through the city, we activated cold weather shelter, and I personally drove women and children living in 10 cities at villages at 2 in the morning to ensure that they did not freeze to death. And I think, Paul, that is why I enjoy the support of the 4 women who have done the most work on the migrant crisis. So that includes Andrea Rayal with the Highland Mommies, now Hope Has No Borders. That includes people like Jolie Casas with Vive Wellness. That includes people like Marilena Suarez with Papagayo, now Elevate for Change. That includes people like Amanda Blaurock with the Village Exchange Center. I think they endorsed me and not my opponent because they saw who showed up when families needed them most.
Sorry, we gotta keep going. Thank you. Sorry. I gotta ask you a follow-up question here. So you said you disagreed with the mayor's approach. The push-pull of that moment, of course, was for the mayor, every dollar he spent supporting migrants was a dollar that came out of the budget. And we now know what happened with that. It led to layoffs. So if you disagree with his approach, and if you would have done more, spent more money and spent more staff time, would you have done that, even if it meant laying off city workers?
That was one of the most impossible decisions, that the city faced at the time. But here's what I saw in the faces of the folks who came here. I remember speaking with somebody, her name is Araceli. She is 9 years old. She actually happens to live in the district. I'm currently sponsoring her asylum application for the city, or rather, so that she could achieve asylum here. And it's money well spent. I'm very happy to do it. But in chatting with her, how she got to this country, Paul? She literally clung to her father's shoulders as he crossed the Rio Grande and almost died. And if the city did not spend money in order to help women and children who showed up with bags full of goods here and carrying all of their worldly belongings on their backs, they would have died. And so that it was an impossible decision. I don't delight that city workers were laid off, but I think Denver needed to do the right thing at the moment, and it needed to provide funding to help women and children who came here looking for better opportunities.
Okay, next question for Chuck. According to the Federal Reserve, Colorado lost 19,100 non-farm jobs between March 2024 and March 2026. Why do you think so many jobs are leaving our state, and what will you do to create more meaningful employment opportunities for Coloradans?
I'm going to try and fit a response and an answer in this question. So I want to respond to the previous question. I don't understand how you disagree with the mayor's position, but then you claim the successes of that exact same administration. I also, now I will answer yours. So corporations aren't struggling right now. People are. There are record corporate profits while families can't afford groceries, rent, gas. That's the real picture. The Colorado unemployment rate is 3.9% compared to the 4.3% nationally. So the premise of this question is also wrong. I know I said that twice now. But the numbers don't tell the whole story. What matters is the quality of those jobs, wages, benefits, healthcare, childcare, access, women's workforce participation. And let's be clear, in 2025, the Trump administration cut 1,700 public land management jobs in Colorado, more than any other state. I've been fighting that directly through my environmental nonprofit. Meanwhile, 14,000 Colorado kids are on a wait list for subsidized childcare because of the freeze on CCAP. We have our first trillionaire and billion-dollar detention centers contracts, while millions can't pay rent or feed their families. That's a wealth inequality crisis. That's a working class crisis. We need to strengthen worker power through the Worker Protection Act. We need to take a serious look at corporate welfare. Every time workers fight for better pay, they always say, but we'll have to cut jobs. Trickle-down economics don't work, people. They've never worked. I've been a part of the labor movement since I was a kid, marching with the United Farm Workers and standing strong on picket lines. I will fight to redistribute wealth.
But I do actually now that I think about it, I want to ask the same question I asked Andres. If you were the mayor and you were dealing with the migrant crisis, would you have spent more money supporting people arriving in the city if it meant laying off more city workers?
It is a human crisis. And I'm running for the capital, the state capital, or the state senate. I'm not running for municipal government, but we do have budget issues, and I will always choose people over profits. I know that. I will always choose humanizing people, providing resources after people have traveled thousands of miles to escape harm and persecution. And I do believe that if we tax corporations and if we make everybody pay their fair share and we don't subsidize billionaires, then we'll have enough to pay for migrants and pay for jobs at the city.
That's right. That topic needs to be talked about. Our tax dollars that we send to Israel.
Thank you for the interruption. I think I'd like to ask for that to be the last one, but I appreciate your input. This is a reminder that we're about halfway through the questions from the Central Denver Democrats. So if